Good day, everyone. This is your Professor Del Mendoza, and today I'll be discussing about designing the organizational structure. So, organizational structure class is a method by which work flows through an organization. So, it allows groups to work together within their individual functions and to manage their tasks. So, uh, actually, we have different kinds of organization that we can apply with, especially if that is related to our course. And this is great because each and every people are being given the opportunity to apply based on their capacity to achieve something, especially if that is related to their field of study. And this is very important. Now we have to check first if we are capable of doing a certain task whenever we apply in certain job. And in response, the organization are giving us the chance uh, to to apply in their organization and evaluate the our credentials, our talents, our skills, our motivation, our passion to achieve something. And luckily, if will be hired or will be absorbed by this organization that you want to apply with, so we are being given the chance to explore more about ourselves, more about the company, and what we can share to the company. Focusing on the talents and skills that we have, in terms of contributing something for the success of the company. This is very important. No? So, this method class of organizational structure is more of like it is a skill of a certain HR manager to divide the group based on their functions. No, if you are a graduate of BSBA major in marketing, then more of course you would be assigned in marketing department. Now, if you are a graduate of human resource, then of course you would be assigned in HRD department. No, so we have several courses. Like if you are a graduate of IT, you would be assigned in MIS or Management Information System. No, and we have several different functions to do for us to correlate with the mission, vision, strategic objectives of the company. This is very important. The organizational structure is being implemented to segregate, to divide the people based on their talents, based on their skills, and also to give them a sense of specialization. Now, if they are good in this one, then explore more about that one. Do research. You're being given a chance to aspire more, to explore, to improve your talents and skills based on a given field that you are, of course, a specialist to do it. So line organization class, this is the vertical line of authority from the top organization down to the chain of command. So it's especially start from the CEO. Of course, mag-start yan sa CEO, then pababa hanggang of course sa rank and file. Ayun yung pinaka-ano natin down the chain of command. So from the top, of course, we have CEO, we have operational, we have the vice president, and then we have line managers, mga sinasabi nating operation manager, um, mga middle managers, and then down to the rank and file group. So, of course, if you are going to receive a communication like a memo, it should start from, of course, the ideas of the CEO and then being implemented by the vice president, and then from the vice president, the line managers. No, which of course consists of operation managers, marketing managers, human resource managers, and then down to the middle managers of we have supervisors, diba? And then from supervisors or team leaders, of course, down to the chain of command, which is the rank and file group, or the staff or the assistant, whatsoever. So this communication is very important because this is very important coming from the idea of the CEO, especially relevant to improve the company's decision making. Um, Whatever decision would be coming from the top management, of course, it must be executed down to the chain of command. No? And this is very important. I'm always telling the student to correlate with that, especially if the of course, all the memos naman would be coming from the strategic objectives of the company, mission and vision policies, no? And what we are to do to abide with the law, that is the law of the company, you know? Of course, you are being given a chance to work with them, then help them. No, that's the challenge, no? Of course, you are being given, of course, the compensation naman, you know, at the end of the day. And then you are being paid, no? I think it's by monthly, 15 or 20. Some other organization are paying weekly, no? Or monthly basis. As long as they are paying you, don't have to worry about it because you are being compensated, no? There are issues like that, no? Na mababa yung sahod and then lots of tasks. Of course, you know, when you complain, you just have to make sure that you understood the job design that you have signed, no, in the first place, especially in terms of employment contract. And by the time you are hired, we have orientation, and then you would be assigned to need to sign your contract. No? If this is amenable to you, no, like all the things that you're going to do, job description, job design, job specification, you must agree with it. If you agree, of course, you would sign it. And then we don't expect a complaint coming from you because in the first place, you have signed the contract and you have agreed. Because if you have a certain complaint, di ba, with the very time that you are signing the contract, then you must raise it if you have certain question about it. No? That's a challenge nga, no, to all applicants. You just be, you know, scrutinize the contract before signing it. No? So, the features of the line organization, line authority, di ba? Sinabi nating line authority, those are managers, no? Line as the chain of command, this is the source of communication, which is whatever technology you are using. Right nowadays, we are using a lot of technologies to communicate with other people. Na we have email, no, we have messenger, we have the specialized application system that the company are using for them to reach out employees, no, down from CEO down to the chain of command. And then the chain of communication, and then the line is the carrier of accountability. So each and every employees in the organization must be accountable of. Once you receive the memo, make sure that you receive it and you acknowledge it and then implement it eventually, di ba? Yes, we're not perfect. We cannot do it alone and we cannot do it 100% perfect. But of course, you know, the management is expecting us to correlate with the vision, not to correlate with the objectives, no? Of course, at times we seem to be imperfect, but you have to make sure that you are doing your best, diba? You're doing your best, accurate, and with productive output. That is what we are expected of to do, no? Especially if you're employees. We have to be productive because at the end of the day, it's more of you're being evaluated because of your output, not because of your looks, not because of your, you know, credentials. Now, credentials are good when you apply during evaluation, but once you have been employed by this organization, each and every people, the employees like us, no, expected to do right output, good output, no, based on the position that that we obtain in the organization. So we have the advantages class of offline organization, di ba? Organizational problems are solved quickly, yes, because we have managers to help us. We have supervisors to hear from us. Know what is your comment about this one? And then if the supervisor cannot answer that, your top managers, no, usually can intervene. Like the operation managers, HR managers, no, can talk to you if really the officer cannot talk to you or cannot answer your questions. You can always go through our managers, no, in each division in our department. And then afterwards, all those concerns would be, you know, collated by the vice president, whoever is the vice president of the organization, or if you have the president, be talking about that before raising that to the CEO or the actual director of the company. No, then responsibility is well defined. It starts from the employment contract actually. During the interview, you are being given your accountability, and this would be the scope of responsibility. So you just have to make sure that you are abiding with whatever you have talked about, especially if signed the employment contract, because it's the evidence that you have read it and agreed. No, everything must be stipulated in the employment contract, including your reporting time, etc. No, all those things. What would you do? What standard uniform? What would be the veterinary tasks that you would be doing? So all those things are included in the employment contracts. You just have to make sure that we are being responsible, not to abide with it. Next, less overhead expenses and the additional stuff, especially if you are multitask. No, an employee are expected to do multitasking. Of course, within the specified department lang naman. No, you cannot do naman other tasks from the other department. So in each department that you are uh, being assigned with, no, you just have to make sure that you would do your best, no, to do a productive output. So be doing multitasking, multi-programming, all those things are expected of you, so that the output would increase, no, and expected output must be achieved at the end of the day. So disadvantages plus of line organization, there will be increasing the load of line managers, no, like of course so much talking, so much advice would be an additional not really burden but additional task to the managers. Of course he would be allotting time for that schedule, not to meet you up on a daily basis, especially if that would has something to do with the management meeting, no, or management committee meeting, what we call mancom meeting, diba? And chain of command becomes longer. Yes, because there is a probability that the bureaucracy that would be implemented in a certain organization wherein if you would be asking for a certain kind of request, no, all those managers should sign your paper, your concept paper, no, from the one who recommended it, no, from the boss of the one who recommended it, middle managers, top to the vice president or president, and the CEO if you have. Diba? Usually kasi the president, the CEO are just one position. But in our company, president is different from the CEO. No? Okay. So there will be the existence of the inadequacy of managerial specialization. At times, no, inadequate because so much task to do. And these managers tend to do multitasking. And at times, he tend to be good in one point, but in the other points tend to be not so good, no? And there might be a neglect of partial duty in the other accountability that he's doing. Okay, next, over centralization of decision and authority tends to develop dependent managers. I believe that the developed dependent managers is good, but in others it would not be, no? And centralization of decision would be a challenge, no, to the authority or the different managers, because each and every manager have different this kind of mindset, no, on whatever is good, on whatever they think or perceive is good to be implemented in their department. So it would be a challenge for them to correlate with the other departments in implementing a similar types of protocol that would promote line organization. So organizational class is very important in a certain department because there's a need to change. There's a need, and we have to, put an emphasis on this one. We need to observe. We need to react on the change that is required, not to be implemented in our organization. Of course, people in the organization at times or in the first place, though, they would react. No, they would negatively react on the change that they would be encountering, but eventually they would learn on how to cope with the much needed need, no, in order for us to grow. Because if we would just rely on what is being implemented, even if it's old, no, there might be no increase or expected increase or in terms of the change that could lead to revenue increase, no, or increase of sales or increase of, revenue, no, in the financial aspects of the organization. Idea generation is very important because we need to determine the need. We need to determine I need to assess, no? That's why we're doing need assessment, di ba? In a certain department. Uh, what are our needs, di ba? And we need to react on that need, no? What are the things that we need to generate in order for us to react on this need, no? If the need is negative, and then we have to react positively, no, to make that negative need a positive idea, diba? And then there should be an adoption of the idea. So you have to adapt it and whatever theoretical principles you would adopt. No, we have so many theories, frameworks, no, that is being usually adopted by several companies for them to achieve the expected growth, no, not just in the revenue but also in the growth of their people. And then you have to implement it, no, if you have adopted a certain idea and if you think that this idea would be feasible, diba? And then you have to implement it. And of course, there should be an availability of human resources in terms of hiring plantillas, no? This is also a challenge of increasing additional people, no, to work with us because organizational change do not restrict in terms of hiring people. It makes people experience, no, to work in a company and eventually grow. And that grow would mean that they are practicing different types of skill-oriented activity, no, for them to grow. So we have the features of the line and staff structure. So line managers class are still directly responsible to the top executives, of course. Diba? All the things that you're doing in the company, whoever would be your boss, you should report your output to that boss, no? Because at the end of the day, at the end of the 6 months, no, you would be evaluated by whom? Your line managers, diba? And they should be aware about what you're doing. It's not just pa-impress, no? Or just trying to impress the people, sabi lang pa-impress, but it's more of like updating your managers, no, about what you're doing. Because, it's very important that we have to list all those tasks that we are capable with and we have achieved successfully, no, for the benefit of the company. And then specialist position of the staff executive is recommended as well. Diba? We hire people specialist, no, an expert in this task. So hiring should be a non-stop activity with the human resources, no. We keep on hiring the best people, no, and we keep on developing them, no, and at times avoid transitions. Fast transitions, fast turnover would mean that people do not like company, no, the environment. They don't like the culture. That's why they are resigning. And there is a fast turnover of position. So we avoid that one. So next, the recommendation of staff executive should have prior approval, of course. Diba? Who recommend that? Your supervisor. And then after that, you should be obtaining signatory approval, no, coming from the different managers, no, the different departmental managers, and of course, we have the CEO, the president, the vice president would approve, no, your recommendation. And staff executive has to coordinate closely with his with his line managers. No, dapat naman, no. Each and every day that we are doing the company, we should be establishing good communication relationship with the people around us, not just with our boss, but also with our co-employees. Next, advantages of line and staff organization. The accountability for objectives and the end result could be to be carried from the heads of the department. Yun, di ba? Yung mga accountability ng objectives, yung end result must be carried out, no? Of course, people who are your subordinates would be doing that for you. So make sure that you boost them, you encourage them, and you always give them the tips. You show them what to do, so that your expectations would be achieved. Next, the internal lines could be traced in each one of the staff, di ba? Yan tayong tinatawag na No, the internal lines could be tracing. It's one of the stuff. So meaning they're being aware of what to do, their tasks, and what to do if they would ask advice coming from their department head. The line continues through functional groupings. We do it. Not every day. Some company are doing it every day, but in my experience, they are doing it on a weekly basis. Usually Monday. It's management committee meeting. Everything's being invited, especially the line managers. Rank and file employees are not being invited. They have their own departmental meetings. No, I think once a week then. And the line executive will be free of research and activities. No? Kasi nga, there is subdivision of tasks. So meaning, it's not the intended task that is expected to be achieved by the land managers are being distributed to the people who are considered trustworthy to accept the task. No? And the effectiveness of control, operating efficiency and economy. No, we tend to also, be thrifty in utilizing the resources, especially the electricity consumption, the paper consumption. That's why we are adapting the traditional processing into electronic data processing. Those are example of effectiveness of control, operating efficiency. Next, we have functional structure class. Vertical integration could be defined as the operation of another line of product or services, which is different or similar to the present organizations. And horizontal organization could be backward or forward movement of the company. Control the supply of materials in its present operation. So vertical integration class, operation of another line, product services, na similar dun sa present organization natin. Na in-integrate natin yung mga dating practices, for us to be effective in the next transition or in the next phase. Kasi nga, nakita naman natin sa first implementation of that particular operation is very successful kapag in-implement natin siya, yung particular action na sa second phase of action na gagawin natin, for a new product development or services, that would also be successful 100%, or at times, of course, we're always being positive naman. Horizontal integration class, backward or forward movement yan. Nagkocontrol na ng supply ng materials sa present operation na ginagawa ng isang company. So, features of functional structure class, we have creation of a new division. Iba nga, usually ginagawa natin creating of a new department. And assignment of staff, especially to do that particular process. Katulad ng sa isang company na nilalagay sila ng mga ISO department and they are putting ISO managers or ISO officers and then one secretary and one secretary and one usually assistant of the secretary to do it for the entire company. In other department, they have a complete set of staff specialists doing a certain specialized transaction, di ba? So, could be the result of decentralization and specialization. Dine-decentralize natin, ginagawa natin, sinasubdivide natin yung mga magkakasamang process na ginagawa dun sa ibang process na ginagawa. And we specialize them. We tag them based on their specialization and label them based on their specialization. It also create profit centers class and delegate authority and responsibilities. And central management makes overall decisions in planning and organizing. Next advantage is class of functional structure. It unburdened top executives and the minute details. No, it encourages the development of managerial talents. It also provides products and markets. It gets more action at the right place and time. So formation of small coherent group of managers and managerial talents are developed. Pwede rin siyang demands ng high degree of group efforts. No? So disadvantages class ng functional structure, assignment of favored personal staff. Siyempre, usually nangyayari talaga to, pero we're trying to, delimit. At times you need to be objective, no, with the assignment of tasks, no, being given to the person, no, not because how they look or their backgrounds, but it's more of their skills. If they like to do it, then give them the chance to do it. Now, accounting and auditing system must be effective, being given to the accounting department and finance department. Overstopping is not economical in functional setup, not being determined by the human resource department. Okay, so we have I have activity to you. So I want you to discuss and explain the making of an organization based on my explanation. I want you to discuss and explain the types of organizational structure. I want you to give the features of line organization, line and staff, and functional structure. I want you to explain why organizational change is necessary. And now I want you to give the advantages and disadvantages of the different organizational structures. Thank you and God bless.